I'm going to give some examples of pair and group work, and I'm going to give you our 6 particular examples: information gap, jigsaw, spot the difference, find someone who, survey, and opinion gap. So let's start with information gap, and this is a classic one where you have a map, and one student has certain information on his map or her map, and then the other student has other information. This is taken from interchange, and as you can see, the task here is to ask the other student for directions to the particular places which are listed there. So then if you look at student B has the same map but with other information and certain information missing. So students in pairs have to collaborate together to find out the missing information on their map. Notice that this is a reasonably simple map. You can't have too complicated a map. That would be too much of a cognitive load. You can, of course, change your map to illustrate particular local realities. As it stands, this is a kind of a bland map. It's kind of Nowheresville, but you can create something which actually resembles some real places your students may be studying in or may be going to. So here students have a certain conversation they can use. Can you tell me where the supermarket is? And then the other student gives directions. Notice back channeling. You can teach. Okay, got it. Fine, good. Go on. And in directions, perhaps you repeat things. Okay, so let me repeat that, etc. The next kind of pair work is a jigsaw. Jigsaws may be 2, 3, 4 pieces of different information that have to be put together to create a larger whole. A nice example of this is the use of breaking stories, especially about incidents like accidents. This is a car accident, and as information, the news breaks, different information is given in the initial stories, and then as the story develops, and after a day or so, then that information becomes confirmed, and certain information given at the beginning is not true, etc., and then the truth that is established probably a day later. So I think this one's taken from AP, Associated Press, and students are asked to fill in an accident report, and so the graphic organizer has location, date, time, number of cars involved, injuries, and cause. And then the student A, student B, let me go the other way, excuse me. Student B has a report by Reuters, and similar graphic organizer, accident report. And what you'll find is the information in these two reports is slightly different. So that provides a nice information gap for students to do. And then they can be given a later report and compare their information with the later report. So this is a day later. So some of those figures are clarified, the slight differences. And so now they have a reading purpose when they look at this particular piece to compare against the information that they have got and shared with each other. The next one is the classic spot the difference. You need about 5 or 6 items, no more, otherwise it becomes too difficult to do. This is taken from a course book, interchange again. Of course, this would be divided into 2, and one student would have Jane's apartment and the other student Bill's apartment, and then they would have to exchange the information. It's a task where they need a particular strategy. Student A would probably describe their apartment and ask questions. Do you have a bed as well? Do you have a sofa too? So 5 or 6 differences. These kinds of spot the differences are easily made, especially if you have a black and white drawing. Then with whiteout, you can take objects out of the drawing, or you can even add things to them. So that's our one nice simple way of creating a pair work activity. There's another example using photographs. You could actually make your own, taking photographs of a room and then rearranging the objects in them. The next one is find someone who, this works especially well at the beginning of classes as an icebreaker or warmer, and especially if you've got some information about your students or where they come from, the languages they speak, the hobbies they have. This is a way of introducing students to each other. And you can this is, it gets students on their feet, it gets them walking around, and it's a nice activity, especially if the information is true about each student. People learn things about each other. Next one is a survey. This is any kind of survey where one student asks another student. It could be about their jobs, what kind of jobs they like doing, or it could be about anything where you ask them to, you find about information and it's in the form of a survey. Then surveys can be put together and you can build up a complete survey for the classroom as a whole. Finally, we have opinion gaps. Where we're going beyond information, and we're collecting particular opinions that students may have on particular topics. Again, this is taken from Interchange. Interchange, the course book, is very rich in these kinds of activities, so it's a good source to look at and give you ideas for creating your own pair work material.